All right, so we're going to continue in our narrative writing. Okay, hurricanes. We did. We read this. We read the Earth hurricane, Earth science hurricanes. We answered the questions. Now we're going to fill this out. Okay. Now you're not going to fill it out what I write because that would be my story. You're going to fill out your own story. Okay. You're going to put the characters and the setting here. Exposition, meaning what happened at the beginning of your story. Maybe some details. Doesn't have to be a full paragraph or anything. What are some details or things that happened as it got closer to the climax at the beginning of the story? The top is your climax, meaning the most exciting part of your story goes here at the top. Okay, some falling action, more details of what happened, maybe a little bit after the exciting part. Okay, and maybe you could put and then you put your solution or the end to your story. Okay, here, what's the problem in the story? Obviously, there's a hurricane coming, right? And you need to take shelter and get to a safe place, right? What was the lesson that your character, maybe one of your characters learned in the story? So you're going to be start filling this out today, okay? But first, so in your setting, here's some examples, okay? Maybe you're walking home from my friend's house, riding my bike home from the park, okay? Laying in bed in my cozy room, sitting in my classroom at school. Okay, add details like is there a garden, dogs, trees, cars, etc. Okay. Um, for a story about hurricanes, describe what the weather looks like. Add details. Okay, at the beginning. So again, this is similar to what the mountain thing you have right on page 5. So go to page 5. Exposition, what's happening at the beginning of the story. The expositions where you introduce the setting and the characters. Rising action, okay, what's happening at the beginning. Climax is the most exciting part of your story. Falling action, okay, is probably when you're introducing you have a problem, okay, and you're doing things to solve it. You find a resolution at the end. So here's one has a little bit more details. The exposition is the beginning. Characters and settings are introduced. The rising action is the events that complicate the story and build towards the climax. The main characters face several conflicts or problems. The climax at the top is the highest point of action and the most exciting part of the story. The falling action are events that lead to the resolution, okay, and a satisfying ending. The characters work to solve the problem. And then obviously the number 5, the uh, the the final outcome of the story and how everything ends up for the characters. Maybe in the resolution at the end, you tell me what lesson the characters learn. Okay, so with your problem, well, we already talked about it. Somebody said this: a hurricane is coming, right? And you have to get home, or a hurricane is coming and you are home alone. You hear about a hurricane coming while you are walking home. You are at a friend's house when the hurricane hits. So where are you in your story when the hurricane comes? Okay, could be at a beach, right? So you have a plot, the events in the story, a problem. Every story must have a problem to overcome, or it is boring. Okay, how a plot develops in a story. The story begins, characters are introduced, the setting is described. Setting is where it takes place, right? Could be at your house, at the library, at the beach. It's all up to you. You're the writer. Introduce the problem, the action, explain what the character is doing to overcome or solve the problem. How is the problem solved? What's the solution to the problem here? And then the end, what are the events in the story that reach the end? Maybe at the end of the story, you also tell the reader, hey, this is what the character learned. This is the lesson that they learned. So for a couple, by the way, you have this week and next week to complete this, okay? And it's not like we did a cloud story. The cloud story was a little short. This is going to be a little longer, okay? Maybe we cover 3 to 5 paragraphs to describe your story, okay? So you'll have this week and next week to complete the graphic organizer, and then you're going to rewrite it on the last 2 pages of your packet, okay? So again, you start with the characters and your setting. I don't know, something like this. What I did, something, for example, whoops, it's kids on the field trip. This is mine. Are you supposed to be writing this? No. You come up with your own. I said the setting was North Carolina. Uh, on a beach. Okay. Am I writing complete sentences right now? No. Maybe you write a couple details here. It could be a sentence or half of a sentence, just for you to get an idea of what you're going to be writing. When I rewrite it here, that's when I could start complete sentences, right? Okay. Telling me where the characters are. You introduce the characters by name. All right.